The coastline is almost always a productive habitat for wildlife photography. Over the winter, a huge variety of birds come and spend their time just off the coastline foraging in the surf and among the rocky beaches of New England. As spring is quickly approaching, many of these species will move northward, along with millions of other birds, to their breeding grounds. One species in particular that I wanted to photograph before they head north into the high Arctic for breeding is the Purple Sandpiper. This stocky little shorebird can be found hiding and foraging among the rocks and boulders that line the coastlines. The Purple Sandpiper has a wintering habitat that is farther north than many other shorebirds, so it is one species that can be found in Connecticut almost all winter long. These birds will start to migrate north in April and May, with the males departing first to stake out the best territories. I headed out on a cold and windy morning, and there was a low fog that was blowing in from the ocean. The fog and low clouds made it so I had nice lighting through the entire morning. I just needed to find the sandpipers and get into position. If you're new to my channel, my name is Todd DeWald, and I'm a full-time wildlife and conservation photographer in beautiful New England. It is my goal to take you along to explore the amazing diversity of wildlife that call this area home, sharing with you my education to make us all better naturalists and better photographers. It is my hope that my videos will spark an interest in the wildlife in your area, so together, through photography, we can preserve the natural places that remain. Consider subscribing to my channel to learn more, and thank you for watching. To begin, I headed down to a rocky point. The Purple Sandpipers prefer these rocky beaches, where they forage among the seaweed and algae that grow on the rocks and boulders. These rocky sections are also popular for the sea ducks as well, because these rocks allow for protection for the crabs, mollusks, and fish that these birds prey on. The tide was going out, and there were red-breasted mergansers foraging among the rocks just offshore, so I decided to set myself up and wait. Some more brants just landed. There's 3 of them that just kind of drifted past me over here on my right, but about a dozen more just landed right in front of me, more on the point. And there's 3 red-breasted mergansers that are floating along. They're still pretty far out. So I think I'm gonna creep over closer to the point and see if I can get some better vantage points of things out that way. All right, I just found the Purple Sandpipers. There was a small flock of shorebirds that flew out along the water, and they kind of circled around and then came back and landed. and they landed on some large rocks that are out in the water. They're probably about 50 yards from me right now, but they're right now just foraging on it, and they definitely look like purple sandpipers, so that's really awesome. I'm hoping that they're gonna come closer to shore, but I'm gonna keep an eye on them and just kind of stay here and see which way they go. I put on my external 2x teleconverter just to get me some reach so I don't need to move and get closer to them. I really just want to kind of see where they go. And there's also about half a dozen, maybe more, red-breasted mergansers coming directly towards me as well. So I really just want to sit here and let things come to me now that I found a good spot with some good visibility around me. I think I made a little bit of a mistake here. The purple sandpipers were on a rock that was pretty far away, so I was trying to keep an eye on them, but I was also have been getting some really great footage of these red-breasted mergansers that are now on both sides of me here in front of me foraging. But because I was focusing on the mergansers, I lost sight of where the purple sandpipers went. So they're not on the rock that they were on, and I haven't been able to locate them on any other rocks. So I'm hoping they're still over there on the right of me somewhere. But once these mergansers kind of disperse a little bit farther away from me, I'm gonna try to scoot back down to the right and see if I can find them again. They love this rocky habitat. I've set myself up. The trouble with photographing sea ducks or anything that's out on the ocean is that there's so much movement in the water, and you want to get low to water level because it just makes a nicer composition, so you're not shooting down on them, I think. But you also need to be high enough still so that you don't end up getting the waves in the way of all of your photos as they come crashing into the shore. So I've opened up my legs on my tripod to get a little bit lower, and I'm still probably about 2 feet above water level right now. But because the ducks are still far out into the ocean, they're not too far out, but they're still out in the ocean, so the water is actually a little bit higher out there, and I'm still just over water level for them out there, which is really nice. I still get the waves crashing in the foreground of the video, which is nice, but I'm able to keep them in frame more often than not, which is better. Okay, the mergansers have kind of dispersed away from me now, so I'm going to take this opportunity to pick up and see if I can relocate those sandpipers. perfect. They actually came closer to me. They're right on the rock here in front of me. Oh. Where'd they go? Oh, yes. That was perfect. They came and landed right in front of me. They just flew off and kind of went around the point there. Oh, that was really nice. It was one of the instances where I wish I didn't have my 2x teleconverter on because they're actually close enough, and I really would have liked to get them at maybe 560 millimeter or 400 millimeter, but I had the 2x on for the mergansers out in the water, but I was able to get some really close-up shots of them. There's about 6 or so of them, which is really, really nice. Let's see if I can relocate them. They didn't fly because of me, which is really good. They just kind of stop on the tops of these rocks and then kind of move on pretty quick. So I'm gonna just walk over that way closer to the point, nice and slow, and see if I can find them. Ah, yes. Actually, before I head over there, I'm gonna take off my teleconverter so I don't run into the same issue. I don't want to get over there, find them, and then need to fumble around with my gear to get set up the way I want to. So let's do this here while there's not anything I'm going to disturb, and then we can get right into shooting when we get there. You may have also noticed that I'm testing out a new tripod today. I'm really excited. Photo Pro sent me a new tripod to test out, and so far I am absolutely loving it. There's going to be a video on it in the coming weeks, but it is really, really nice. I love pretty much everything about it. And I'm testing it out in the sand and salt water right now, so we'll see how it holds up. Just want to go really slowly. I mean, a lot of waterfowl and shorebirds are pretty skittish, and there's still about half a dozen red-breasted mergansers out in the water, so I'm staying kind of high up away from the edge of the water, just so I can try to decrease the chance that I'm going to spook them. And with purple sandpipers, you want to kind of check the tops of these big rocks, because that's probably where they're going to be foraging. They're not like other shorebirds where they are on like the open beaches. They actually like the rocks. And there's kind of a large jetty over here, which I have a feeling is where they're going to want to be hanging out. And I think I might actually see them. It's kind of hard to tell. There's a pretty good fog bank rolling in right now. It looks really nice. Okay, I just found them. I'm not in the best location. They're actually down pretty low, but I'm gonna see if I can creep down into the rocks a little bit and get ahead of them. I just want to get some footage here now in case they fly off quick. Okay, so they're right in front of me. I'm gonna try to creep down over here into the rocks and hopefully get ahead of them so I can be in a better position. Alright, I'm now level with them. You can see so I just need to hope that they come around this bend here so that I can get some footage of them. Oh, oyster catcher just flew by. Where'd you come from? Now I can't see them right now, which is a problem because it's always better when you get into position if you can keep an eye on your subject. That way you can kind of judge your location based on how the animal's moving. Because right now, the sandpipers could be going the complete opposite direction of me, and I wouldn't know because I don't have eyes on them. But I'm hoping that they'll be coming around this point here. There's a nice rock formation over here to my left, and this is perfect habitat for them to be foraging in. So we'll just have to sit and wait and hope they actually come this direction. This is where the patience and the uncertainty comes into play for wildlife photography. Oh, I just saw one. Just tucked in behind the rocks.
It is always nice when birds are comfortable enough to be preening and resting so close. As this bird opens its bill, you can actually see the top portion of its mandible is able to move upward, a movement called rhynchokinesis, which helps many species of birds that probe in the sand and dirt capture food that is buried out of sight.
They keep popping up out of the rocks, and you have a few seconds to get a photo before they scurry back down in. There's 3 of them in front of me, and they're just sitting there preening right now, taking a nap. One of them has his head tucked in. It's amazing how well camouflaged they are. So they're a pretty dark shorebird, but that's because that's the habitat that they're in. They're in these rocks that are dark, algae covered, and it really helps them blend in to be dark as well. Especially when you have all this dried seaweed that's now blowing in the breeze. Every movement looks like it's a bird, but it's not.
It was such a great encounter to be able to be so close to these birds as they were foraging and resting on the rocks in front of me. The fog continued to roll in, and the wind picked up, which continued to cause my lens to move quite a bit. I opted to leave my lens hood on to help reduce the amount of mist on the front of my lens, since it was beginning to accumulate on my gear. I managed to wedge myself between some rocks, which allowed me to get decently low and be on relatively the same plane as the birds.
What an incredible encounter today with the Purple Sandpipers. I couldn't have asked for anything better. They kept coming back over towards me. I ended up going back down to the same spot pretty much that I was, and they landed right in front of me again, and I was able to get some great photos and videos of them. Could not ask for a better situation. They're just still foraging right down there on the rocks. I was able to creep away from them without spooking them, and now it's just time for me to leave and head out, leave them be. Got some beautiful pictures of my camera, I think, and it's time to head home. The wind is really picking up, and I can't even feel my finger right now. I couldn't feel the buttons on my camera, so it's time to warm up, and yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I really enjoy photographing shorebirds, and especially on conditions like this, you just can't get any better than this. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much.